Hi there, this is Jordan Dyer, and this is my critical assignment psychological factors presentation for KIN 552 at Cal Baptist University. All right, so I got a sore throat, so please bear with me. It might be a little scratchy from time to time. So, quick little overview. I'm going to go through the introduction and background, and then some key factors affecting health and performance, and conclusion, and then wrap it up with some references. So we'll dive right into it. So my target population is female collegiate volleyball athletes. I've been a collegiate volleyball coach for the last 4 years. I'm actually currently not employed at a university, but I decided to take off this year and just focus on my master's and also develop a beach volleyball club in my hometown of Santa Barbara. So, but the last 4 years I've been doing collegiate volleyball, so this is really relevant, and I plan on getting back into collegiate volleyball once I get my master's. Spent 2 years at Stetson University and then 2 years at Long Beach State. Both as at Long Beach State I was a volunteer assistant, and then Stetson as an assistant full time. So looking at collegiate volleyball athletes, female collegiate volleyball athletes, I have a decent amount of experience. So doing this research was nice to kind of affirm some things that I already kind of had an idea about, and also a lot of eye-opening information. And obviously, I'm really interested in finding out key factors that affect the health and performance of a female collegiate athlete, especially a volleyball athlete, because if I'm able to positively impact any of those, factors just a little bit, the sky's the limit. So 3 factors that I really focused in on for this target population was environmental factors, motivation, and personal factors. Looking at environmental factors, they could obviously play a significant role when it comes to influencing the individual's health, exercise behavior, and performance. So those are some really big important things right there. Environmental factors can involve anything that is external or coming from outside, so any outside influence. And extrinsic motivation can be seen as this, and I'll kind of get into that in a little bit. A main concept regarding environmental factors is social support, and Anschel goes into to explain that in his literature. Social support involves the perception of how much assistance the individual can be receiving. So that perception is really important, especially at the collegiate level. How your perception of how your teammates are treating you, or if their support, or your family, whatever it is, it's really important, especially when you're in an environment like a different place and on your own for the first time outside of your your house for the most part. Looking at a couple other environmental factors that are involved. We take a look at Weiss and Hoppers. They found that the impact of sports socialization from immediate influencers or close by significant others like parents, coaches, teachers was very apparent, and many collegiate female volleyball athletes had significant others who adamantly supported their sport experiences, and that makes sense for the most part. When I was coaching at Stetson in Florida, a lot of the games, the parents are coming across the country just for a weekend to watch their daughter play in this tournament. So just kind of shows a little bit of how much support most of the athletes on the team, all the teams I've been with, have been supported by their parents. It's really awesome to see that. DeFries and Smith found that the perception of support availability amongst collegiate athletes and their teammates can potentially influence self-determined motivation and burnout. So that kind of goes back into perception of support, which is really important. Is it there, or maybe it is there, they're not perceiving that though. So that it seems like it's a pretty important issue. Now looking at motivation and the relationship of psychology and performance, I would say motivation can be seen as the most important factor for psychology. There's person-centered motivation, situation-centered motivation, interactive personal and situational motivation. according to Anshel, and then also Anshel discusses some motivational theories ranging from goal orientation theory to cognitive evaluation theory. So motivation, there's a lot of research on motivation, and looking at intrinsic versus extrinsic. Intrinsic is motivation from within, and extrinsic is more external motivation, outside influencers. And a lot of people, I think it's on a spectrum, I would say. I don't think that, how many people are absolutely intrinsically motivated and not motivated by anything else. That would be interesting to see. But I think there's, for the most part, people have a little bit of both. And if you're looking at the population that I'm looking at, firsthand experience of how motivated female collegiate volleyball athletes are. And, from your coaching experience as well, you can obviously attest to that. If you're looking at to be able to succeed academically at a Division I level for being a collegiate athlete, it's like a two full-time jobs right there. You're putting in 20 hours a week. I think quote unquote, you're only allowed to do 20 hours a week for your volleyball, but when you travel, it's more than that. When you're on season, it's a lot more than that. When you have your school studies, of some of these girls are double majoring. So it's incredible how much motivation you need to be able to succeed. And when I was at Stetson recently, I was proud to be a part of the team that had the highest GPA. So the beach volleyball team that I was a part of, I think the GPA was at 3.67, highest team GPA at Stetson. So that was great. Looking at some more motivation, Schellenberg, Gaudreau, and Crocker, found a relationship between types of compassion, types of coping and passion, and alterations in burnout and goal attainment amongst collegiate volleyball athletes. And if you're looking at the harmonious passions seemed to be in this study seemed to be more intrinsic, and then the obsessive was a little bit more forced passion, pressured, so maybe a little bit more extrinsic. So it was interesting to see there were some relationships involved there with burnout, and that's huge at the college level. A lot of kids get burnout. And then looking at considering motivation is a psychological aspect. It's safe to say that the psychological makeup of someone is an overwhelmingly significant factor as to how that person performs and behaves. So looking at personal factors, they can play an important role when it comes to influencing an individual's health, exercise behavior, and performance. Personal factors typically consist of personality traits and behavior tendencies. The main concept that involves personal factors is self-efficacy theory, financial. When it comes to the self-efficacy theory, competence and capabilities are very important, and a person's self-efficacy in regard to exercise capabilities can help predict their exercise behavior. So you're looking at the concept of how competent, capable someone feels when performing certain exercise tasks. So that kind of goes into pretty similar to what I'm talking about. But the primary predictor of the self-efficacy theory involves that a person is more likely to exercise if their self-efficacy about exercise is high. And that kind of goes both ways. So if someone has low self-efficacy, they're less likely to be consistently, sustainably exercising and performing exercise tasks without dropping off after a certain amount of time. And then, looking at, I think the self-efficacy theory is the most appropriate theory. Personal factors pertaining to female collegiate volleyball athletes. And, I have some firsthand experience in that department with, seeing freshmen come into a program and you see how they perform in the weight room for the first few weeks. They're not, in some cases they're not confident, or that self-efficacy isn't there in terms of performing all the certain fundamentals and postures and all those exercises involved in a college weight room, the proper technique and all that. And then after some time, once they become a little bit more familiar with the equipment and a little bit more confident in self-confident with that, their self-efficacy goes up and they're able to perform and thrive in that environment. It does take some time. for that to happen. And if you're looking at Miller and Levy study, they found that collegiate female athletes had more positive perceptions of body self-image, self-concept, and athletic confidence than collegiate female non-athletes. That's kind of helping show that point. So to wrap it up, the three main factors I looked at: collegiate athletes and also collegiate volleyball athletes specifically, environmental factors, motivation, personal factors, and me understanding that female collegiate volleyball athletes are typically going to be a little bit more motivated, have a little bit higher self-efficacy, and have really positive social support for the most part. Can help me better understand the athletes that I'll be working with, and that information can help me maybe get a little bit more out of them and improve their experience and whatnot. So thanks for the class. I enjoyed it, and thanks for watching my presentation.